I'm Charlie Kirk, founder of Turning Point USA and Turning Point Action. Together, the largest conservative grassroots organizations in the country. Thanks to our work, I talk to a lot of young people on campuses, at our events, on my radio show, podcast, and social media. Said differently, I visit college campuses so you don't have to.
Wow. Well, I know we're probably everybody's seen so much about Charlie Kirk this week, but at the same time, he's been on our mind all week. So it's, kind of a little bit of a tribute to him. He'll be sorely missed.
Very.
Yeah.
Well,
woke the whole world up.
That's true.
Well, Andrew came on, he just wants to spill his guts about what he feels. So we're going to let him do his rant. Go ahead. Go ahead, Andrew.
Well, okay. Where do I start off at? Okay, well, let's start off with this. Liberals should be considered as terrorists.
Probably would nuke them.
Yeah, I know. Terrorist is the bottom line. I mean, what other people will shoot other people's rights of thinking or being who they are? Bottom line is simple and plain. You don't see conservatives out there going shooting up schools or public events. And seems like, they're getting out of hand, getting worse. Thing is that how is it to fit this way? Why is it this way? And it's simple and plain. It's the upbringing of these kids that's doing the shooting. There's a lot of responsibility when you raise your kids. And yet, these kids are out here doing these nasty, dirty things. It's not right. It's just not right.
Boils back to their upbringing, I would think. And then it begs the question, like what you were saying earlier, when is enough enough? When are people going to stand up and say and demand that
exactly
be curbed?
What is it going to take? One of your family members to get shot? Because obviously they took a shot. They take chances on Trump, but there was 5 other people who paid the price. One of them even died. Now they took out Kirk. What? Are we being hunted? Are we have to look over our shoulder wherever we go? Worried that my family's going to get hurt? Really? Is that what it's going to take for us to say, hey, enough is enough? I understand that, Dave, very well. And John, I feel for you. You're in a country over there that the government, they're looking for conservative people. And I feel that you should be more careful about what you do and where you go.
Well, being careful is one thing. Being able to get out of here is another.
No, it's true. Well, It seems that we're getting that way here now. A third world country, they have these problems. Why should we have these problems here? We're not a third world country. But liberals want us to live that way. Huh?
But you have to understand that the plan has been put in place, and they're going down swing is what they're doing. This is what's happened. We should have realized that after Trump's first tenure in the presidency. Then we watched for 4 years for them to try to destroy him and anybody else that got in his way. They went after every Tom, Dick, and Harry. They went after Gates. They went after anybody they possibly could that could help, hinder all the problems. And now that final line in the sand has been crossed. I honestly believe that we are now in a civil war, because nobody is going to trust anybody anymore for anything. I've been watching a lot of the socializers out there, and they're making telephone calls left and right to people that have written negative things about Charlie Kirk. Now, let's put it this way. This is going to bring up a lot of hard feelings between them, because you got to remember, we're dealing with our side. We're pissed off and we're mad, but we're still doing things the right way. We're doing things peacefully. The other side, they're mad. They hate the whole thing is brought up by hate to begin with. They hate Trump. But when you ask, and I've seen Charlie Kirk and others time after time repeatedly ask the question to people out there in the audiences, why do you hate Trump? What has he done? Oh, he's a pervert. He's done this. He's done that. It's all the fake stuff. It's all the hoaxes. They don't know. They don't bother. They've been programmed to be like this. And it's the same situation. Now it's to the point where they can no longer hate Trump that much anymore. Now they've got to hate other people that are similar to him. And this is what's happening. Charlie Kirk was probably one of the people, because he probably would have been ended up running for president. I wouldn't add a shadow of a doubt for that one. Not only that, he was pretty much primed for being really responsible for the younger generations bringing their votes to voting for Trump and not for for a leftist. And a lot of people have said that over from these colleges. As a lot of them don't like Charlie, did not like Charlie because he was the opposite. They still respected him. And this is where the problems have gone to now. Now it's the point of we no longer can tolerate the other side anymore. It's no longer, it's good versus evil now. It's no longer Republican versus Democrat, because I think we just use that because it's an easy safety handle to use, Democrats, because what they basically are is they're socialist communists is what they are. They practice socialism and they're communists. They're not Democrats. They use the Democrat Party as a line, but that's all they are. Is they're socialist communists, and there's no changing line.
John,
go ahead.
Well, I watched a thing. Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dave.
I watched the thing where Charlie Kirk was in an interview, and well, no, he was out on the campus and he started talking to a lady. He was talking about how he's a target everywhere he goes. He's been kicked out of places. He's been various different things as examples. So he knew there was kind of a target on his back to start with. And then you say to yourself, well, why? All he's doing is talking to college students. One of the big reasons to stop him is because the college students were starting to listen.
That's right.
That's why. And everybody knows if you bring up the young to understand a certain mindset, they'll carry it on in their adulthood. In college campuses, that's why there's so much weird crap going on, because people they're being molded into something that they normally wouldn't if they were at home. So
and the transgender,
transgender
thing, something else too.
Yeah,
I mean, they need what really needs to happen now is, and this is I honestly believe this. What happens with the with the National Guard or with ICE or any of them, no more kids' gloves. We need to wipe our country. We need to clean our country out of all these illegals. If they're here illegally, whatever. I know there's going to be some toes stepped on, but you got to start stepping on a few toes. We can't play with patty cake anymore, because they've not made it conducive enough for us. We've been playing patty cake with them. We've been doing everything right, the right way, protecting this, protecting that. Yet still in Los Angeles, they're out there trying to burn down ICE buildings. They're trying to do whatever they possibly can, to disrupt everything. And it's just the point of it's time for us to turn around and do what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be cleaning our country out from all these illegals, number one. And number two, if you're going to be radical, you want to do this protesting, we know they're being paid for by the Soros group. Well, let's just leave it as that, as the Soros group. As long as they're being paid for it, fine. They want to be paid for it. They're told to either behave and not, do whatever they're doing. But we know they're going to get disrupted, and that's it. Just take them out. Just grab any which way you can, throw them in the lockup. They need to start doing things the old-fashioned way. As a matter of fact, like they did there in D.C., a lot of those J6ers were not held in Washington, D.C. They were held around the country in different prisons, so they could not find out where everybody was. That's one of the big things they can do. They can take, and I guarantee you right now that the Democrats aren't saying a word, but I guarantee you right now that you take Guantanamo and a few of the other bases and around, even Atlanta Federal Prison, there are not J6, excuse me, I meant to say that there are people that are illegals that are in those prisons being held for transport, and the others aren't saying a word. But whenever they can sink their teeth,
That's the only kind of trans I'm into.
Yeah, I mean, this is crazy.
Transport them out of the country.
Well, the one that killed the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, his quote unquote lover is a trans. They were living together. It's a guy transferring
Is this what that girl?
I said,
I'm sorry.
That's his girlfriend / boyfriend.
Well,
This is what I've been said before. I have a cousin who was 4 years older than I am. Ever since I can remember as a child, whatever, they used to tease him for being gay. I used to stick up for him because he didn't bother anybody. But then they found out he was gay many years in this. So in high school, I stood up as being his defender. And I'll still say today, if you're gay, there's something wrong with you physically or whatever, it should be considered a mental disorder, and you need to have psychological help for that. People that make it go beyond that definitely need to be incarcerated. In other words, that's what insane asylums are for. I mean, it's not what's normal is normal is normal. Just like with freedom of speech. I mean, there are certain things you can do and you can't do. We talk like, well, I've got the right. I hear people say, well, I should be able to burn the American flag because it's a freedom. It's my freedom of expression. Yeah, it is. But there's an exception there. The other exceptions are plain as the nose on somebody's face. You don't get into an airplane and say, bomb. You don't go do that in the movie theater and holler, fire. There's certain things you just cannot do. The word fire, the word bomb, they're bad enough words. But when you put them in certain situations, people are just going to, I mean, this is common sense. But
another bad word is sheenus.
Sheenus?
Sheenus. That's a very bad word. Because that's what a lot of transmissions want you to look at. When they want to show you their sheenus, you're like, no, get that dude sheenus out of my face.
Sheenus?
Yeah. Hey, I brought this up right quick, John, because
is that what that girl was talking about?
That's what I've been talking about.
You've been talking about somebody. There was some
this
girl.
I mean, thank goodness this girl got her voice. Somebody listened to her. But I've been talking about the Smith Modernization Act since 2022. I'm like, what the hell, I've been speaking about that. Doug Tenaple finally does a video on it and gets a bunch of views, and I'm like, and that pisses me off. Not, I'm glad it did, but whatever. But I have been harping on the Smith Modernization Act, gosh, since before it was cool to talk about. This girl does a video on it and it reaches President Trump. Thank goodness. But why does
Hey,
Nina, but why am I'm glad it's getting the word out, but I'm just saying, like, this should have been I mean, I don't know how well an executive order works for something that's a law, because Obama had this codified into law. And so to do this, there's going to have to be a large effort on the congressional side to be able to repair this back. But this should be a thing. This should be talked about. This is something Marjorie Taylor Greene should be, or something. Why is it just now? Oh, well, there is a thing that's making the government able to propagandize the people. Why is it just being brought up now? Why now? Why not like when they manipulated the election? Why not when they started this whole transmission movement? I'm glad that it is, but it's better late than ever. But I have been talking about this for years. Yep.
So you're going to tell us about this act?
Oh, well, I mean, I have a bunch, but I'll do it again. I mean,
I know. I think you showed the clip on your last show.
Yeah. So when into this day, this whole act was put, this Smith-Muntz Act was put into place to protect the United States citizens from some of the things that were being done to other countries to create a regime change. I'm trying to think of the word for it, but like Hitler was a really good propagandist. Well, he had a guy that worked for him, and I can't remember his name right off the bat, but because Hitler was able to facilitate the use of propaganda in his favor. Propaganda is either good or bad. I mean, the word propaganda is slain because of the fact most of the time they use it for bad. But Hitler was able to get information out amongst the public to acclimate them and get them in the mindset that Jewish people were scum. And this isn't the only thing. South Africa did this back in the day, using a big radio station to propagandize their people to hate a certain group. We see this all the time. George Soros bought up a bunch of Mexican stations and radio stations all across the United States to propagandize a certain group of people. But anyways, it wasn't legal to do it in the United States. They actually used the media was supposed to be held to a higher standard to where it would be just journalism in general, where they would see what's going on with both sides so that people could get accurate information. But when Obama became president in 2012, he modernized this act to allow and make it legal and actually make it, to push media, not just news, but media as in television shows, radio, music, everything that we take in that's media, social media, everything, internet, to facilitate a government agenda. Now that's happened in the United States because, and it's kind of been happening before then, but at least there was some level of a cap that was put on it, so we weren't so inundated with it. But
wasn't it more about accountability?
Accountability, yes. I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, it just was. It wasn't. Now it's being pushed. Now they're asking media corporations to work for the government. Instead, before it was just sort of, they would do it, in a backdoor form and not quite so obvious. The Obamas own a production company that makes films and music and stuff. In case y'all didn't know that, and it's a big production company. They have their hand in a lot of movies and music right now. They sure do. Obamas do, and we are living in the product of that right now, because this is why these news organizations don't tell you things accurately. They either lie to you, or they tell you half truths, or they tell you a way that's inverted so that you miss the actual message and get something that's not right. And that's their goal.
A product. I want you guys to tell me.
Yeah, you can take it down.
It's supposed to be they're supposed to be news agencies, and they're not being news agencies. Literally.
Why do you people always want to blame the left when it's always your people? It's always you guys.
Their product.
I'm so sick and tired of it. It's so obnoxious and insane that every time something fucking happens, you people are like, must be the fucking crazy left. The crazy left? The crazy left? The left that's always trying to make you understand that everybody should have rights, everybody should be respected, people should have free will over their own goddamn bodies. Are you fucking for real? It has to be a mental illness. It has to be. Like, I know that the fucking right likes to joke about, like, Trump derangement syndrome and how all these different fucking people on the left are mentally ill. No, it's you guys. You are mentally ill. You're disgusting. You're hateful, and you cannot see who the fuck you are. There is no. It's like a bunch of fucking brainless fucking bees.
I can only listen to so much of that, but that's a good example of what the media has made her believe. And a lot of our side says the same thing about their side as they're saying about us. But a lot of the things she parroted only came from the media, And
exactly.
Obviously,
she's obviously angry while she's talking. Well, not a single one of us have been talking in the same anger that she's been talking. She just talked.
Right. We talk about it. It is what it is.
We talk about it. We discuss it.
So we haven't had a chance to hear from Nina.
Hi, Nina.
Hey, Andrew. Good to see you. I had a couple of things I just wanted to bring to the conversation because I just looked it up today. So for one thing, I just want to say it's not a coincidence that Charlie was shot in the neck.
Of course not.
They were aiming to silence the voice. And that is the center of the voice right there. So do y'all know what Charlie's name means?
No, what?
Charles is from Old German and it means free man.
Really?
And Kirk is from the Scottish or Norse and it means church.
Oh, I
Wow.
didn't know that.
That's not a coincidence either.
It has nothing to do with Star Trek.
Nope.
No. He
Yeah.
supposedly had a metal plate in the shirt that he was wearing. He had some type of plate around his midriff, covering his heart. But they don't want these people. They did not want, even with Trump with the myths, that was at the ear. Now even then, because we saw how he moved his head. That was still that's a headshot. So all of these shooters, they're like they did with Kennedy and they did with all the rest of them. They're going for headshots. One bullet, one kill. That's exactly what these are. So in other words, unless you can cover the head, you're not gonna do it. But that's what they want to do, and they're not done yet. I guarantee you, they are not done yet.
Not even close. Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, now we got these radicals out here. They made their point. You know, they're not going to stop just at anybody. They're going to stop with everybody. Now, the point that being is, where is the end going to come? And then my next question is, you know, I'm being light right now. I'm being real careful about what I'm saying. After you guys are done talking, I'm going to speak my mind. I'll tell you that right now. I'm still holding back on that. Now, my main point is to all four of you, okay? Who's paying for this, John? William? Dave? Nina? Who's giving them the money? Why are these organizations so goddamn big? This is not just like, oh, gee, it's just a little faction, a couple of people there, a couple of people here. Hey, you know something? It's a whole lot bigger than this. Who's organizing this? Who the hell?
How about this?
And you know something? Why isn't Bongino and Patel getting off their asses and finding out who's doing this?
They do know. They know.
No, it's the government. It's the goddamn liberal Democrat radicals. That's all there's to it.
I mean, it's true. I wouldn't be surprised, but I also questioned AI's intentions on my video last night that I did because a friend of mine were talking about that. He's like, you know, a lot of these dark money organizations creating large bank accounts and payouts to hitmen could be just all AI accounts that are being, you know, that it's just, and I'm just, it's a far stretch, but and I'm gonna tell you something right now that I think the FBI is more corrupt now than it ever has been. Watching what I've seen take place so far as how they investigated what happened with Charlie Kirk, I think that Kash Patel has got blood on his hands. I think that he's not a very good person. I think that there's something really dark about that man that we didn't know about, but I see it. There's something really wrong with the FBI, like really wrong, because for him, you know, he has a private jet that he keeps at his residence right there that he can hop on anytime, which cost us bukus of money. He claimed we you know, he says that we got him. They didn't get him. That was the father turned him in. They've withheld evidence. They've skewed evidence. They've not looked into the actual real. Something's really wrong here. Something's really wrong.
What about the DOJ, William? Don't you think they got a big part of
Yeah,
this?
she's bad. Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think we've got big problems.
Did you see the report that, and I'm trying to think where I saw it this morning, but there was a report that the FBI had a picture of the shooter and withheld it from Patel for 12 hours.
12 hours.
Yeah.
12 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
yeah,
I
so
think
there's people within the organization working against Patel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, okay, so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
let me see here. I'm going to show you something real quick. Let me pop this up. I ran across this while we're all kind of talking a little bit here, but let me show you this, and I got to confirm this to be exactly true. But there's a lady that Kash Patel fired, the head of the FBI Salt Lake City field office in Utah. The former agents call her absolutely the best in the bureau. She had a legendary case involving the biggest national security cases of at least 2 decades. And her final warning that she said that we needed more agents in Utah, more resources, more professional staff and more intel analysis. And that's probably who would have been working with that with him. I don't know who this lady is, but I just ran across this. And the remarks that the Utah governor gave about Charlie Kirk's assassin and the situation, he even actually spoke against Charlie Kirk. He said that this is on national news. He said, well, you kind of had it coming. This Utah government guy right here, or I mean the governor dude.
Right.
And Kash Patel, his demeanor through the whole thing has been very gross. Some of the things he said were just completely off the wall. There's we've got big problems, and it's not good. It's not, and I think that the FBI is probably worse now than it ever has been. Because there's so many things that they need to be doing right now that's not happening, and I think that there's a deeper involvement in this assassination that's not going to come out that they know very well. Because let me explain something to you. This has only been able to happen because it was allowed to happen. All of the feelers that FBI has to prevent stuff like this, that they have in the internet and social media to pick up on keywords to alert them that there's an issue, should have been those switches should have been turned on a long time ago, considering the communication that this Tyler guy had between his transgender girlfriend and all the people that he was involved with on the gaming networks that he was involved in. This is something that's been planned for a long time. So that means only one thing: this was allowed to happen, and allowing it to happen is the same thing as facilitating it, because it's their job to put a stop to this. There's like, if, say for instance, if we wanted to organize a rally as conservatives, they're going to know all about it, and there's going to be a good chance they're going to put a stop to it. But this was allowed to happen. This was allowed to happen. And if you ask me, there's correlations between Thomas Crooks and some of the other people, how they were on the phone right before this happened. Who were they talking to? So there's
okay, William.
Let
me ask you this. What about Gino doing? What about the Department of Justice? What are they doing?
Nothing.
What about the CIA?
Nothing. CIA was part of it.
Yeah, I don't know how you can separate those two, even though they're supposedly two different. I mean, I think they just scratch each other's back.
Who, the DOJ and the CIA?
Well,
and
mostly
FBI.
FBI and CIA.
Trust me, it's all together. It's all one big piece of a puzzle.
Oh,
Trust me.
It's just one person that killed Charlie Kirk, right? Just one.
No,
Yeah,
there's more
we
than
saw
one.
the guy with the hat. Then we saw the guy cheering in the crowd, and when everybody was running.
And the question that was asked Charlie right before he got shot, oh my God, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way.
The question was, how many mass shootings at college campuses, and then he gets shot.
If you go into a federal building, I'll give one an example. Palm Beach County in West Palm Beach. You go into the federal building, it's right on A1A, which is the highway, which is right along the ocean. You're talking about prime real estate. There's no other buildings next to it, nothing but grass for, nice mowed lawn. And in that building, each floor has something to offer you. In other words, you have the DEA there along with the FBI on one end of the building to the other end. Then you've got all the different various organizations, and of course, motor pool underneath. They're all interconnected with each other, just on different floors, same building, literally. And I'm telling you.
Wait a minute. Aren't these people supposed to be working for us? Are we supposed to be in the crowd? Hey, I have to look over my shoulder. Are we supposed to be worried about our children in school? Are we supposed to be worried about going out to eat to get shot? Are we supposed to be worried?
You get on the shit list, the government shit list, you're going on it for life.
So
they
here,
do whatever they have been able to.
So here's the thing, which is quite alarming. Incompetence is one thing, but this. We found the shooter. No, you didn't. He turned himself in. They took credit for something they didn't even do. That's one thing that should be really alarming to you, everybody out here, is the fact that they got their heads high. But The alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson joked about FBI photo of this other dude right here that we seen being his doppelganger in a 20-person Discord chat while he was on the run. So obviously he was using a mobile device that he's been on for a while. Some form of some sort of communication device, whether it be computer or cell phone. This should have been an easy peasy monitoring situation and been able to find this guy within a matter of just this would have been no problem at all. Absolutely no problem at all for the FBI to find this dude. The fact that this guy was able to do what he did, get away and get back home and be hanging out at the house and on a Discord chat talking about it is very alarming. That tells me that you got to remember who did Kash Patel pledge allegiance to whenever he was asked about who he would be, who would he be more interested in protecting whenever he was being interviewed about being the FBI director. He said he Israel. He's all about Israel. Got Israel up his ass. And I'm not saying Israel had anything to do with this, but I'm just letting you know that you've got a guy here that's going to if you're going to say America or Israel, he's going to say Israel. He's our FBI director. And Kash Patel, and Dan Bongino is in way over his head. I don't trust him either. I really don't trust the guy. There's something about him I just do not trust. And he should be, already had stepped down. And the fact we've got this happening and nobody's arrested the FTC director and the mortgage fraud. Nobody's arrested Letitia James and her mortgage fraud. Nobody has been purple.
Right.
We've forgotten all about that. But everybody
and forgotten all about too. AOC and Omar. All these people have committed crimes. They have already committed crimes against the government, and nothing has happened.
Yeah.
It's
Lisa, what's been up in your world? What's been going on? How you been?
Nina.
I'm so worked up.
Oh, I've been good. As you can tell, there's a different backdrop behind me.
Background, yes. I was going to say, hey, that's not what I remember.
Nope.
Looks great.
Oh, well, thank you. But it's I'm going to set up in a different room, but I haven't got it set up yet.
So you
rich
just
folks.
Next time it'll look different again.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of you rich people.
Did I what?
Did you just finish moving?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
yeah, I still haven't unpacked all the boxes and still trying to figure out where everything's going to go.
Yeah,
I think that would have been a better backdrop. We would have seen all these boxes stacked up.
I had to get one room where they were just out, not be seeing them all the time. But there's still some over here beside me. So,
yeah, Nancy, she just got finished moving in too, so she's just barely settling in. Hello, Nancy, if you're out there. So,
yeah, I haven't seen Nancy this evening.
Yeah, she's been around. I've been posting all day. I've got about 8 or 10.
Maybe she got tired.
I don't know. Maybe
because she's usually here. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Has everybody got their minds cleared now? So I can pretty much.
Well, now you got to promise us that you won't start yelling because your microphone cuts out when you start yelling.
Oh, it does. Well,
yeah. So you got to keep it down a little. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Look, you know something? We haven't forgotten about the 9/11. Okay, it's still fresh in my mind. And I remember the day it happened. Still, I was at work, and they said, "Oh, it's just a little plane hitting one of the towers. Nothing new." And then when I got home, it's a whole different story. We have these terrorists that came in and hijacked these planes. Basically, they were illegals, right? Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, definitely. They were. Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
there were those. Those were those turban people that wrecked trucks.
Look, you got to face the facts. 9/11, JFK, Bobby Kennedy, all the things that have happened to us are all hoaxes.
Yeah,
they're all hoaxes. Not a single one of them is real.
Right.
It's what they've designed and fabricated for our pleasure, so to speak, of viewing. None of it is the truth. There is one video I've got that I'm going to probably put up tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly when I'll get in trouble for it, but there's some key words inside there that talks about the guy with the shovel on about the grassy knoll, about the three of them that supposedly were dead within 3 hours after they shot Kennedy, and that he says it in a kind of like in a humor type of expression, but he gives a name, and he also gives that he says, it's his shovel. He said he still has the shovel. So in other words, he's actually admitting that he's the one that put those guys underneath. So it's they're not going to let these. The basic what they've been using is they've been using out of Central and South America called sicaros. They're hitmen, and these guys know that they get paid big dollars, and when they put a hit on something, it's major, and they know that they're not going to live. They know. So in other words, they keep away from their family as far as they can run. For how long they can run, that's another story. But they know they're not going to live. Okay. It's not one of those, Godfather type things.
Well, the point I was trying to get to was that, we didn't learn from our past? Didn't Biden understand 9/11 happened? What does it take? What does it take? What does it take, for people to understand these liberals are pushing their agenda to hurt us? What does it take? With these? Yes.
It would take the repairing of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act so people could get real information. That would be that's what we need.
The people who's in charge of the FBI, CIA, and the Department of Justice.
That's all a product of this, though. That's the thing. This is the root. This is what grows the tree of destruction. Is the misinformation that people has been fed for so long. I mean, these people that are operating the FBI like they have, the reason why they're able to is because of the fact that they get coverage that from the media that facilitates this bad behavior. And it wouldn't be able to happen if there was real journalists and real information out there. This is why the first thing I put up was that we need to repair what Obama did to our information sector. I mean, yes, there's a bunch of independent content creators there, but we're only as good as YouTube lets us be. And we've got 14 people watching right now. That's not enough. We're not going to have any more people unless we I don't know what some of these content creators do to get where they're at. I don't even want to say anything because I don't know, speculatory, but some of them are probably getting paid by outside sources to pump a message for them. That's got to be why some of these independent creators are able to do what they do. But that's just speculation. I'm just saying that if we actually had a real news organization, a real media company, music that wasn't geared to because news does one thing, but all this youth listening to music and watching television shows that's geared towards thinking this way is able to facilitate this kind of poor behavior in leadership and an authority aspect of government. That's why the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act that Obama did in 2012 is so dangerous, and that all the work that we do right now, you and I, Dave, Nina, John, talking about what's going on, will be quickly undone within a matter of minutes as soon as somebody turns on a regular television program because of the fact of that. And until that's fixed, until that's repaired, we're going to get more of this. We're going to see, and when tragic events take place, it's not going to be properly talked about. It's not going to point the finger at the people that are supposed to be being pointed at because the media is going to give them protection. Matter of fact, it's going to make the side that's victim look like it's the people that are bad. And I fully am with you, Andrew. It bothers me a lot. But the problem we're running into, and the reason why we're all so upset, is because everybody's being fed extremely large amounts of misinformation. And those people that are spreading that information that's not right are blaming us, the people that are trying to fix it and getting by with it.
Okay, that's fine. Whatever. Okay, you know something? Put it to you this way, William, okay? Does that give them the right to come and shoot us?
No, not at all.
Does that give them the right to shoot any conservative?
No.
No, it doesn't. Nope. You know something? And here's the thing. The government, it's okay. This is not what we conservatives are about. We're supposed to be peaceful and kind and just brush it off our shoulders. Enough already. Enough. You know something?
Well,
People are sick and tired of it. All right? We're getting on. Anywhere we go, we got rioters that disagree with us. You know something? Charlie Kirk came over here to Visalia, before he took off. And you know something? There were rioters across the street. Laura, my wife, wanted to go see him. She wanted to go see him. But you know something? I told her, no, it's not a good idea. We got problems. And these people are not going to stop at just talking or yelling. And what happens? He goes over to Utah from there. And what happens? He got shot. And something? How far is this going to go? How much are we going to put up with until the government sees enough is enough? Okay? Enough. We need to go and start finding out where the money trail ends. We need to get those people. They're the ones that are causing the problem. Okay? Not just the government, but the people in between. We got Soros.
There is a thing that goes on that really doesn't require a whole lot of money, and that's influencing young heads full of mush. Parents. And there's various ways of doing that through other social media groups and other things. And there are people planted to get involved and suggest things, and in a covert way that manipulates what a certain group starts thinking. And this stuff happens all the time. And so, those are the kind of things you say, well, it's kind of hard to follow the money when you don't even know what is behind what's actually happening and how to find out. And when sometimes they say, well, it's our government, but we always talk about the deep state. And so you say, well, what is the deep state? Deep state is a group of elites that have so much influence that they can actually cause things to kind of go a certain way, or else other things might happen, and even put politicians in harm's way if they don't kind of conform to what's being pressured. So, it's an argument that's really hard to pinpoint.
Well,
which goes back.
Okay.
This goes back to the root of what I was just saying earlier. This became a thing because media is not just news, and media is being weaponized against the American public. And that's because of the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. I hate this to keep going back to that, and I've talked about this countless videos. And finally, this girl makes a little headway. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I've talked about this for years. That the reason why you have these paid, content creators that are working on both sides. These paid content creators are working on the Republican base too, to keep these Republicans on the straight and narrow, the establishment people, the Lindsey Grahams and all these. I'm not going to name names of these content creators, but they're really big names. They get a lot of views on YouTube, and their content's being pumped by YouTube. It's got to be when that happens, that's a thing. But a long story short, the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act is empowering the facilitation of all forms of media. And thing is, it's like music that all these younger generations listen to is steering them in the direction of this mindset, the mind virus that's willing to accept the next infiltration of their thought process and an inverted thinking. And that's actually way more powerful than any government official or person of authority, when you can have an inundation of manufactured media to steer society in a direction that destroys itself.
William, I have a question.
Why
it's not just
who has more power, the parents or the media?
The media.
What were you saying,
Media,
Nina?
everything.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nina. I'm sorry. I didn't know you were talking.
Nina.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's not just our government. It's not going to be enough to do something about what happens in our government, our laws. You've heard of China's penny army, right? Have y'all heard of that?
Yeah.
So
Explain.
scads of people in China who are being paid like basically a penny for every 5 comments they make or something like that to literally stir. Yeah, to literally, steer the conversation in a certain direction. And they tell people, they tell the Chinese people, if you see a comment that supports this, you're to get on and tell that person what a terrible person they are and how wrong that is, and call them names and etc. There are bots doing this, and there are people doing this who are getting paid to do it outside of our own country. So it's not just here, although what you're talking about is very important, but it's not just here. And hopefully this is what I'm seeing, is that eventually the media is making itself obsolete because people are starting to recognize we can't get anything here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is straight and honest.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for you, hon. Okay. The government has control on a lot of things. And like you said, people are opening up their eyes to the truth. Okay. It's up to the parents to bring up the children to know right from wrong, what's true and what's a lie. Now, whose responsibility is it to be watching these children that are shooting up our schools, that are killing our politicians, they're making us look over our shoulders? Is this the media telling them what to do? Is that the one that brings them up?
Yes.
It's not the media, but I would point out that there are many, many kids in our country who are listening to their parents until they go off to college or sometimes later in high school, and they're getting influenced by other kids.
And I think that's what happened to this shooter. I really do.
Everything I read about that says exactly that.
But the problem is that they know right from wrong. That's our main job. Teach our children what's right and what's wrong.
Has anybody been to a restaurant and sat down where you're waiting to get your table lately?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever witnessed a parent with their small child that barely can walk and talk with a mobile device in their hand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes, I
I've seen that before.
Okay, that's a very up and coming and alarming trend.
Yeah,
because that's the new pacifier. Used to, when they would get, you'd put the pacifier in their mouth, boop, okay. But now they hand them even have little kitty special mobile devices that, so in other words, that's why I said what I said earlier. Who's more powerful, the parents or the media? And unfortunately, because of the lackadaisical actions of parents now, the media has now taken over. And I'm not talking about news. I'm talking about media, everything that you watch, listen, you consume so far as outside of what's reality. As soon as you sit down and tune out of the real world, you're involved in media, whatever that is. Books, magazines that barely get read, but that's media. Newspapers, media, just saying. But that's why I know that it seems like, parents should be more powerful, which they should be. But if in a spectrum of reality and thinking of what's really going on, that's why I said earlier, the media at this point seems to have taken over. I'm not talking about news, I'm talking about media. See, everybody gets this thing confused when they say media. Oh, that's the CNN. No, CNN is just is another aspect of media. See, Hitler used posters. He used posters, flyers, word of mouth, because you didn't have the internet back then. Radio, any
even advertisements for food and things are all based, designed to influence us. And that's where the government learned it all anyway.
Exactly.
Here's one thing that here in Brazil, it's been almost 10 years now since since my one daughter's been in school. She's in 10th grade. But here's the way the school works here. You are not allowed to show up at the school with a cell phone. You're not allowed. They're not permitted inside the buildings. Now, you say, well, what if a parent wants to get a hold of the child? Guess what? There are such things called landlines and cell phones for the people working in the office. So if you got a problem, you got to pick up your child, you basically call the principal or whoever there is up there, and they send a message. Nothing has changed over the time when I went to school or whatever. You can still get a hold of these. But the point behind it is they do not permit the kids to have in school these cell phones. because they say it just completely destroys them. They don't. They can get all their
Right.
answers off of it for tests and everything else, and they don't want that to happen.
Right. I understand.
I got something I
No.
want to show you guys. And let me just show you this right here.
And
This
I
is
agree
another
with you,
indication.
Cindy. 100%.
Yeah, me too, Cindy. I seen that comment. Thank you for that. This is another indication of problems in the FBI. Something that's very alarming, either incompetence or planned obsolescence, however you want to look at it. But the dude that was, the accused Charlie Kirk assassin dude, has been in a Steam group called "Read This If You're Gay." That was one of the encrypted messages on one of the ammunition, one of the bullets, echoing a message, a bullet casing. But so in other words, this guy has been involved in a lot of chat rooms with all these people discussing this type of crime and setting up this stuff to happen. All of these are earmarks and signs that should have been easily picked up on all of the little feelers that exist out there on social media to protect government officials and people from this kind of crime happening. And it was not. This is why I said it was allowed to happen. This was not an accident. This was something that not only did the American government want to happen, because right now, conservatives don't dislike Jewish people, but conservatives are waking up to the corruption involved with the Israel government. And I'm not blaming Israel. I'm just saying there's a lot of things that Charlie was doing that was against what the globalist elite want to do, which is all a stair step of the inversion to destroy this country. He was building it back up single-handedly and destroying all of the work that colleges did to indoctrinate these kids. And because of that, he had pissed off both sides, not only Democrats and people with pink hair and bullnose rings, but Republicans who were benefiting from the fact of the destruction of our country. And so I, in my opinion, think that this guy was probably the shooter, or there's probably more than that. I would not be surprised if there was 2 shooters, if there was more people involved in the whole rooftop thing, because we're never going to get the whole truth. But it was allowed to happen. The FBI agent's not going to pull that trigger, but they're going to have people that'll work for him. This is another Lee Harvey Oswald all over again. And we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
Well, I have a question for you. How much more do you think conservatives are going to tolerate? Anybody?
It's not that we can, but look, okay, so what's the answer? Do you think that we're going to retaliate with some form of violence?
Well, I don't know. If we know, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, no?
Well, the thing is, it's like, here's how this works. And I'm not going to say that it can't happen, and I'm not advocating for that, but I just understand how people work. That, yes, at some point, every man's got his breaking point. This is the thing, though, and just to give everybody the rundown on how this works. Whenever Hitler was in power, or not in power, but when Hitler was doing his thing, okay, he was funded by not only the United States government that was fighting against him, and other governments as well that were fighting against him, and the people that were also working for him. He was getting funded on both ends of that, because there is anytime a social conflict arises, whether it's a civil war or a war between countries, there's always a third party waiting to see the outcome so that they can fill in the void and then take up the actual real power structure and then build off of that. So if you think that, if anybody out there thinks that when we reach that breaking point, that it's going to be a good idea to move in that direction, it's called a peerless victory. Say, for instance, you win that victory, but the people that are behind this power structure that are trying to do what they're doing, they're going to pull all the levers and destroy everything around us to where there's nothing left to be victorious over. That's the sad truth of how this will play out. And I don't know. I don't have an answer. I don't have a good answer. I'm not saying that people won't break out in some sort of breaking point moment, but the side that wants to destroy this country is not going to do it themselves. All the people that are involved into talking about America's destruction. We should do this. We should do that. Power this, power that. they're not going to do anything. They're going to have everybody around them do it for them by creating these problems that we see. And this is, be honest with you, indicative of moving away from a Christian-based society. This, I mean, I hate to say this. This is it's beating a dead horse. But when you move away from the Constitution means nothing if you're not a Christian-based society. Values mean nothing because you can't forgive and forget and learn to unite and be one with your brother beside you. And it's not the answer that people want to hear, but the only way this works is if both sides put down the rhetoric. Both, and I'm not saying that Republicans are doing anything. I'm just saying the people that are doing, like the left is the ones that are violent. We're not. But if something happens and when they reach that breaking point, that does come to be, it's not going to answer. It's not going to fix it. It's going to make it work. It's going to make a problem become way worse because the outside entities waiting on this to happen are going to grab hold of that and hijack that movement, and it's going to be in favor for them. And the whole system that you were fighting against is going to be the one that fixes it in their way. It's going to move everything in their direction a lot easier. So the only way this
We've
works
seen
is,
that happen in the past.
Okay.
yes, and that's exactly what they want to do. And so the only way
Yeah.
this works is there has to be a truce. There has to be an awakening of people enough to understand that they're being used and stop and become one. But I don't see that happening. We're moving in a bad direction. Go ahead, Dave.
Real quick, I just, because we're almost out of time, I want to ask Nina, because of her father's what he worked with the space exploration and so forth. How do you feel, or how do you think he would have felt if they found somebody visiting Earth and flying across our sky, and then all of a sudden we shot at it?
Oh, I think he'd be very upset about that.
Yeah. So
Very
I just,
upset.
we just had that, the hearing, the transparency on UFO hearing, and they showed the videos and stuff, and they showed this orb going across the ocean, and then they showed how a Hellfire rocket just glanced off of it, and it kept going. Looked like kind of like sparks or some kind of pieces flew out. That could have been the Hellfire. And I'm thinking to myself, they're talking about, well, it could have been a dud. It didn't explode. It might have been the wrong. It was shot from the MQ-9 drone, which meant that they must have had line of sight. So it was line of sight operation, and it wasn't a proximity warhead, obviously. Otherwise, it would have blown up when it got close. So it must have been an impact type. But I reversed my thought on that, and I thought, well, what the hell is our government doing shooting at something that is causing no trouble, maybe coming here to check us out, and probably a lot further along in technology than us? Why would we do something like that?
The same people that
Dave,
blew a spider that's not
Dave,
bothering
I want to
anybody.
ask you a favor. I just sent you in a text message a post that I had put up, that Charlie Kirk had put up. And in it, he was talking about, if you would put that on the screen, if you can, I would sure appreciate it. Let me go there.
If you send it to the
right
and
number. I'm looking at it too. So what it is, he was talking about assassination culture. And he said it's spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say they would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk, and 55% said the same about Donald Trump. Now, if you look at the graphs that he put up there, it shows that of the respondents, and it said 31% of the respondents said they would be justified in murdering Elon Musk. Of those 31%, 48% of them were left of center. So who were the rest? People who were center or not left of center. So what I'm trying to point out is there's more people on center and left, not left of center, that are thinking the same way. They too are thinking, oh, it's justified if I don't like what they're saying. And here's the thing, Charlie Kirk did not, he didn't engage in hate speech. What he did was engage in speech that people hated. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And they hated it because he was effective.
I have one question for everybody before I finish.
Wow.
One last question. One last question to the panel and everybody out there, that's listening. If it was your child that got shot, how would you feel then?
I mean, that's pretty. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty.
How would you feel?
Tell me. Of course, it'd be
Would
bad.
you feel, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I forgive you. Right?
I think we should ask Erica Kirk that question.
Yeah.
Because she
Well,
knows.
I know what my answer would be. My answer would be is I know what kind of physical shape I'm in right now. I know that my time is very limited. I'm taking that person out.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, me too. I'm the same way. But look at this. All right, Andrew, I'm gonna hit you with a question. I got Matt really I got a lot of people heated on this one stream I did. So we're all sad that Charlie Kirk has been assassinated. And this, yeah, and it's and the reason why people were mad at Charlie Kirk being assassinated, or happy he was assassinated, is because they've been inundated with a certain level of information, and of course, the information they've been fed is not right. But say, for instance, you've got a bunch of accurate information about somebody, and they've done a lot of really bad things. Listen. They've done a lot of really bad things. I'll give you two good examples: Bill Gates, Fauci, just two right off the bat. Just their mainstream household names of people who are dirtbags. How would you feel if the same thing happened to them? Would you have the same heartfelt like you shouldn't go after people like that, or would you be sort of like?
Well, put it this way, it's easy to say, be peaceful, be kind, be understanding. Okay, it's easy to say that, but when it comes down to a family member, it's a whole different ballpark, a whole different thing.
Well, just okay, that's fine. All, but what, Nina? How would you feel if a Bill Gates or a Fauci was taken out in the same manner as a Charlie Kirk?
I would be grieving, not because it was Bill Gates or Charles Fauci, because honestly, I think they both need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And if they are proven guilty, I have no problem with the death penalty, to be honest. But for us to take the law into our own hands and go and murder someone else, knowing that someone else could do that in retaliation to one of my kids or to your kids or to your brother or your husband, this is not the direction I want to see society go in. I would probably be very angry. I would probably feel very tempted if it was one of mine. But I would be asking God to stay my hand and turn my heart and my mind, not because they deserve forgiveness, because they don't, but because I want to be free from the same thing that is binding them. I don't want to turn into them. And if I retaliate in the same way, I become no different.
What if I'm okay? Like I said, but you didn't take the you didn't do anything. You witnessed the action done to a Fauci or a Bill Gates. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm a flawed individual, and given the information I know is true and what I witnessed with my own eyes and seen the genocide that Fauci and Bill Gates took part in, and some of the plans he have for this world in the future when it comes to how we succeed as humanity, I'm just going to be absolutely honest with you. What happened to Charlie Kirk is wrong, because he was a good man, and I know because I've seen it with my own two eyes. And I'm not using media to tell me anything. I saw this with my own two eyes, but I'm not using media to tell me anything about Fauci and Bill Gates. But if something happened to them people, I'll probably be losing my job right now. I'm just putting it like that right there. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you because I'm a flawed individual. Lord, forgive me for saying something like that. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, but I've seen some of the terrible things that they have done. If so, some individual did that. I'm not calling for it. I am not going to do that. But if the same scenario played out, I'd be like, guess I'm losing my job because I'm going to be. Those are some really bad people.
I
And if
agree.
that was
I
God's
agree
plan,
with William. I'd be sitting on the fence, not saying a word.
I
I wouldn't say one word.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting on the fence, just watching, going like,
Well, and
so it is.
I would probably be of the same mind. However, the difference would be I would not be jumping up and down and doing some crazy,
that's crazy
dance
stuff.
and
That's
telling
stupidity.
everybody about it.
Let's not forget, they killed him in front of his family, his kids and his wife, along with the rest of the people.
Fauci's wife was part of the whole thing. Fauci's wife was the head of the NIH when she allowed all that to happen.
I don't like. All right, I said what I had to say.
I'm a flawed individual, but at least I'm honest. I'm not going to lie to you guys, and I pray that I have a better mindset. But the thing about it is like I am not perfect, and I'm not saying that what I'm saying is the right way to handle things. But what I've seen with my own two eyes and what I witnessed happen to humanity because of those two individuals, it'd be hard for me not to be like, especially after what happened to Charlie Kirk. I'd be like, well, because we're in an information war, which is at this point is turning into something that manifests larger. And when you have two countries who are mad at each other and they're fighting in a kinetic war, one side thinks they're right, the other side thinks they're right, and whoever wins gets to be the right. And
it's to be the right.
I'm just saying. I mean, I'm not now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this is how it should all play out, but I'm just being an honest person that's flawed. That I probably need to work on things on the inside a little bit. But I seen what I saw. I know what I saw. Everybody else does too. Nina saw what Fauci did. Nina saw what Bill Gates did. You did too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I do believe he deserves to be executed according to the law.
I would rather see him sit and suffer in jail because it's prolonged.
Regardless, he deserves to be prosecuted and convicted and get whatever the law gives him, the full extent of the law. He deserves that.
Right.
And yes, I would love to see that happen. I don't want to see him become assassinated by anyone because, again, I feel like that just turns us into the same people that we're pointing fingers at and saying we don't like that. And I keep thinking in my own mind, now I don't know how you guys feel. I don't know how many of you are Christians or not, but in my own mind, I keep thinking there is Stephen who was stoned and Paul who was holding the coat of the people stoning him, fully in agreement. And God got a hold of Paul and he repented and turned completely around and became the biggest supporter of the church ever. And because of the persecution of the church, Christianity grew over the whole world. And that's what's happening right now. You see how people are responding to what happened to Charlie. They recognize this is persecution. They recognize this is evil coming against us. And voluntarily, there are so many of them who are saying, I was trying to be on the fence before. I was trying to say, oh, well, everybody has a part in this. And yeah, everybody does. But they're all saying now, so many of them are saying now, but never again. I'm not on the fence anymore. That was evil. I can't call it anything else. That was evil.
One last thing before we get out of here.
Thank you, Nina.
I'm going to show this.
I made some stupid comments about Charlie Kirk on the day that he was shot. I said some things on Blue Sky and on Threads that I I'm sorry, not sorry for, but I said them and I deleted them when it was requested that I do so by my employer. And then today on a weekend, I'm told that I am no longer employed at Microsoft. After 6 years building the diversity, equity, and inclusion department from scratch.
Is that why he got canned? Because he was building the department, or because of a comment?
Because he's sorry, not sorry.
That's why he's really being let go. But
Yeah.
let's make it all about his post. But even still,
Sorry about that. That was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So what were you saying? Nina, what were you saying before?
I just said he's sorry, not sorry.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, deleted them, but yeah, I still feel this way. And I'm admitting it now, right now.
I got my job back. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Can I have my job back now?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think that maybe because also Microsoft talked about getting rid of that division itself.
Yeah.
So that he just made it easier for him. They said, "Oh, he's in trouble for the."
Yeah,
Oh well, hell, let's just can him. So,
He helped facilitate it.
Right. All right, guys. Well, we've ran out of time. Matter of fact, we went about 11 minutes over, and but I appreciate everybody, popping in here. All the commenters, Nancy, Cindy, what's this guy? Saints of Hell. Well, I don't know about that. We Need Peace. Bear Ashby, Richard.
Hey.
Stephanie. I think I got it. Most everybody. Wayne.
Eric.
All you guys. Appreciate it.
And don't forget to check out Princess Raven on YouTube. Princess Raven on YouTube.
Okay. See ya.
Oh, and Andrew.